My name is David Dudgeon. I'm Chair Professor of Ecology and Biodiversity at Hong Kong U, and I'm working on an international collaborative project which is entitled Rivers in Crisis. We think of the Earth as being a blue planet, but the amount of fresh water that there is available on Earth flowing in rivers and lakes is much less than 0.01% of all the water there is out there. And we estimate that maybe about 65% of the length of the world's large rivers are seriously impaired by humans. Yet that is the water that we all depend on for everything. The project you could think of as being an international consortium of university professors who are trying to analyze the threats to human water security, to biodiversity that come from degradation of river systems, and that's around the world. What we have done is we have looked at 23 threat factors. They are factors like pollution, dam building, irrigation, water extraction, and so on, and also biological threats like overfishing, alien species, and so on. And then at the end of the analysis, we were able to produce two maps, one which shows the global threats to human water security associated with rivers, and one which shows the threats to biodiversity associated with rivers. We see this very much as a live project. We hope it's fairly intuitive. Red means very, very bad. Frankly speaking, Asia is not doing very well. Countries like India come out more or less uniformly red. If you look at China, what you find is that the area around Beijing and the Yellow River is almost all red, whereas the area around the Yangtze is red in places, but there's quite a lot of yellow, green, and blue bits. And what we see in our maps is actually precisely what you can see in the real world in China. People up in northern China are water stressed, people round about the Yangtze are generally speaking not, although there are periodic problems with water pollution. What our data suggest is, if you look at patterns of human populations and you look at the red parts on our map, that round about 5 billion people globally are suffering from water stress, or they lack human water security. In biodiversity terms, all of those things that are bad for humans are also bad for biodiversity, because water is an irreplaceable, globally scarce resource, and humans and biodiversity compete for this. And in this competition, humans will always win. There was nowhere on Earth where we could find that there was threat to human water security but no threat to biodiversity. So we're talking about 65% of freshwater biodiversity under threat and about 5 billion people suffering some form of global water stress. These guys are collected by Moscow. Yes. One aspect of the project which we thought was very important and we felt would help it gain legitimacy, given that this is simply a first stage analysis, would be to get feedback from interested parties. A good way of doing this would be to set up some sort of knowledge exchange mechanism. So we set up a website, we made some of the data available, and a whole number of different maps. And anyone can go there, the school teachers or university professors, and download those maps. I think it's important that Hong Kong University is part of this global study. And I think part of the legitimacy of this study is that it includes a variety of people from a variety of different backgrounds from universities around the world. I think if the whole analysis had been done by, for example, people living in North America, it wouldn't have had very much legitimacy in terms of when those people were talking about Asia or Australia, because they don't have the local information. The question is, of course, well, what next? I would suggest that given we are moving into a period of global climatic uncertainty, and we're in an environment where populations are burgeoning and development is increasing, so we need to continue this type of analysis to see what the trends are. Once we know what the trends are, then we can do something to manage those trends. I mean, my job as a scientist and the job of my international colleagues is to provide the best available information to policymakers. What's happening out there now and what they believe is likely to happen.